I think I mentioned this on the stream, how I don't plan on getting too excited ahead of the CPI reading, because the CPI reading will kind of determine how the Fed will react to the data. It's your boy Crypto Millie. I'm back with another one. Let's talk about Tau. This video is about Tau, the Bittensor ecosystem. A few of my signals did go off, so I wanted to kind of like put that out there for you guys, make a video. I do apologize for the stream earlier. I don't know why YouTube cut off my stream, but that's neither here or there. And we'll also be talking about the subnet of the week, guys, so make sure y'all stick to the end, because we're going to be talking about a subnet that we are highlighting in the Bittensor ecosystem. So like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Let me know your Bittensor Tau predictions in the comments, and what are your favorite subnets as we move into this next leg for the Tau ecosystem. Now, I did find it pretty interesting that the total 3 years showing strength headed to the upside, as Bitcoin itself has been kind of struggling a bit, right? Still here around 120, 112 and below that ultimate RSI signal that we've been going off. But I got some good news for the Tau holders. We just printed, as you can see, a ultimate RSI crosshair on the weekly time frame. So the next step would be getting above this resistance here, which would be the 21-day EMA and the 50-day EMA. I think that's going to be the next thing that's pretty tough for Bittensor, right? Because we got, of course, selling pressure, just the ecosystem itself, but we are heading to the area where we could see the halving really change the dynamic of the entire Bittensor ecosystem, including the subnets. I think that's something to look forward to, and you can already start to see here Tau is looking to start a leg up, right? It would be nice, because we are seeing ecosystems like Ethereum show strength. We're seeing Solana show strength, XRP. It would be nice to see Bittensor here show strength as well. And I'm taking a look at the stock RSI. You can see we're not quite oversold yet, so there could be a little bit of selling pressure as we get a little bit closer to these moving averages, but I'd rather be oversold than overbought, especially with a looking down the barrel of an ultimate RSI cross. So I think Bittensor is looking good. We'd like to see more volume coming in, but I think that the Bittensor is looking good in the ecosystem. DTAL specifically, there's some gems that could be coming out of DTAL really soon. There's actually one gem that I want to actually talk about today called Lium. It's subnet 51, and what this allows you to do is to rent out compute power. And if you want to earn a passive income and you got a supercomputer, maybe it's idle, you don't use it as much, you can also lend out compute power. I think with the growth of artificial intelligence, compute power is probably one of the most important, parts of building a application there is. In fact, the bigger the application, the more compute power that these applications take. And as AI continues to grow, you got to look at compute power similar to how oil builds out infrastructure for driving and things like that. Well, compute power builds out the infrastructure for AI, right? It really allows artificial intelligence to be as innovative as possible, because we need compute powers to build out these big applications. Can you imagine how much compute power something like YouTube uses, streaming services, these games like Grand Theft Auto? They use tons of compute power, and compute power is expensive. When you got a subnet here that's providing it and literally earning a revenue, right? Because they generate revenue, right? You can pay with crypto, or you can you can just pay normal, right? You can top up your thing and just add your card here, right? Just like if you were buying something in the Web 2 space. So I think that's good, because this generates revenue, which could introduce alpha buybacks. And I seen a post a while back about Subnet 51 actually explaining how they solved that problem between the generation of revenue and the selling pressure from miners, right? So this project, sitting here, let me actually go check it out. It is sitting here at a $43 million market cap. It's one of the, older subnets, but also one of the subnets that have a legit utility and use case, and we'll also talk about the utility and use case. So $43 million market cap for something that's embedded in the heart of AI. I think that's a great bargain, and especially when you look at what it would how it's compared to competitors. But a lot of people just don't know what compute power is and why it's so valuable, right? So again, oil fuels transportation. I said this earlier. Electricity powers the physical world. Compute power enables digital innovation. Every app you use, every AI breakthrough, every digital service requires massive compute power to function. More compute equals better apps equals more success, which equals more innovation. So the problem here is that a lot of this stuff is very, very expensive when you're trying to, you know, outsource this in against some of these centralized entities. Monthly costs can be up to 50K a month if you're building a really, really, really good startup or really, really good application, which kills a lot of these new startups, right, within the next 3 months, right? Only big tech can afford massive compute, and 90% of startups can't afford enterprise compute, right? So this kind of stifles innovation in a way, because it only allows the people that are connected within those circles to utilize this type of compute power, enterprise compute power. Well, now we got the centralized version of this specific niche, right? Lium, for example, is about 90% cheaper than any of its competitors out there. I actually have a visual to show you guys that actually proves it. And you can get the compute power at the click of a button, right? 1 second click, you're renting, right? It doesn't take a lot of coding knowledge or anything. Everything is accessible instantaneously using Lium, right? So if you're building something, you need compute power, you need it right now. You can see some of the prices are as low as 50 cents per an hour, right? Well, there was a one that was like 45% per hour, but I guess like the let me see lower price here, because I was like, I know it was right price up. Okay, yeah, 192. So the price has actually changed, but at one point, when I was looking at the app, we seen one that was like 45-50 cents an hour. Right now, I think the lowest is $1.92, but still cheaper, 90% cheaper than its competitors out there. And yeah, this unleashes startups that can compete with big tech. Researchers can run impossible experiments. Developers can iterate 10x faster. Global access to innovation tools, more time building, less time funding, right? Compute power is the bottleneck to digital innovation. Remove the bottleneck, unleash human creativity. 90% cost savings equal 10 times more the innovation that's possible. And this is why Lium isn't just about saving money, it's about democratizing the future. And I made a post about this earlier because a lot of people are sleeping on how valuable compute power is in specifically in innovation, not just AI, but innovation, right? So Lium is a decentralized GPU compute power marketplace that connects compute providers who supply GPU power to anyone that wants to rent compute power. So that's how they generate revenue, with their customers. And the cool thing about the miners is, and we'll get into this, right? If you are a miner, right, you have to, in some cases put up a I'll talk about it a little bit later, right? So, of course, anyone can rent or supply GPU power. There's no KYC, no gatekeepers, no identity verification required, direct peer-to-peer connections, right? We talked about how the setup is lightning fast. No more waiting hours or days for compute resources. Get instant access to GPU power that you need, and you can spin up a machine in seconds, literally seconds. You build something, you need GPU power, come shop with Lium. It also has a massive cost savings, right? Up to 90% cheaper than the traditional cloud providers, which saves thousands on compute costs while getting the same and better performance. We did a little bit of a back test here just to make sure, and you can see I wanted to actually fact check the up to 90% cost savings claim, right? And you can see these are some of the live currently on price examples. The average is anywhere from 42% to $2.72. You will find, depending on what you're working to rent, some things that are higher, but we're talking about the average. And you can see the averages to AWS, Microsoft Azure. It's just 60 to 90% cheaper shopping with Lium, right? This is Lium here with mixed GPUs, because you got to remember, these are people around the world contributing to the ecosystem, lending out their GPU power so people can rent this stuff at enterprise level and build applications, right? Research, right? This is for medical research. This is for games that require lots of compute power. And you can see the Subnet here. Some of their competitors. There are some competitors here like Thunder Compute, Vast AI. The reliability is the one thing that is questionable, but Lium has a cool little thing that they're doing, and we're going to talk about that. But you can see like the big dogs, AWS, Azure, IO.net, a little bit more expensive than Lium. We've wanted to verify this just to make sure. And in some cases, it is 90% cheaper than a lot of compute power competitors out there. The up to 90% cost saving claim is technically accurate, but requires context, right? So 90% savings are achievable. Multiple decentralized providers demonstrate 70 to 90% cost reductions as well. So it really depends on what you are building, and it's important to understand context. But in, most of the time, based on our model, the accuracy that Lium is 75 to 90% cheaper than most of its competitors, right? So that's pretty good, right? Especially for a subnet that's sitting at 43 million. We're not even going to talk about like, AWS and how much, because we've already talked about that. That's like it's valued at a lot, right? But remember, we was talking about also the percentage, right? The accuracy, the reliability percentage, the accuracy percentage of these GPU rentals, right? You want to make sure you're getting quality compute power, not nobody that, it's spinning up some cheap Wi-Fi, right? And there was question marks with the reliability, but the cool thing that Lium is doing here is they have new collateral requirements, which is helping out the quality of the GPU power. Think of it like a security deposit when renting an apartment. It ensures everyone plays fair, right? So for computer providers put up a small amount of cryptocurrency as a guarantee that you'll provide reliable service, get it back when you perform well. This right here takes away all the people that's trying to basically scam the system and earn alpha. So now you got to come with really, 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 really good compute power. And in order to back your claim, you got to put up a small amount of cryptocurrency, right? So that's pretty interesting. Which is the collateral for customers to ensure you get quality service. If a provider fails to deliver, their collateral compensates you automatically. So this really puts the computer owners, on point, right? As this is a good behavior deposit. Service quality is monitored. Network automatically tracks uptime, performance, and reliability. Rewards and penalties. Good providers earn rewards. Poor performers lose their collateral. The same could be said also for the customers, as in some cases they also got to put up collateral or a deposit, ensuring you get that good quality. I think that's pretty cool. Quality assurance through economic incentives. I think that's pretty cool, right? I think that's pretty cool, right? So again, we talked about the marketplace. Early access, whether you want to rent computing power or provide it. It's really, really easy to get started. You can go straight to the website, no downloads or complex setup. It's lightning fast. In seconds, you can spin up your machine, right? Compared to 1 to 3 days, like some of these centralized providers here. We talked about how 90% savings compared to competitors. You can pay with crypto, so this is pretty cool, right? You can pay with crypto, or you can pay with your card, right, in USD. And the use cases, right, because this is why compute power is so valuable, right? You got AI training, video rendering, scientific research, game development, crypto mining, data analytics, personal projects, and even startups. All of this stuff requires compute power. And we've seen a lot of compute power cryptocurrencies kind of fizz out as of late. But the ones that have been shining are subnets, right? You had Chutes really, really shining. You have Lium now really, really shining. And I think they're only going to continue to shine when you think about the use case and the utility that is required to build out something like a game, to do scientific research and run complex simulations, video rendering like 3D animations, visual effects, movies. All this requires compute power. Training machine learning models, crypto mining requires compute power. Data analytics, research, all of this stuff that you see that's data requires compute power, and even personal projects. So, startups now got an opportunity to save money, right? They got an opportunity to save money and focus on building out quality opposed to hiring all these, developers and paying for all of this compute power. Now it's in the hands, right, of the community because it's decentralized opposed to one central entity. So, guys, look into Subnet 51. I think it's pretty interesting if you understand how compute power works. If you're looking to rent out compute power, again, there's an opportunity, and it's a lot more cheaper than those big dogs out there. And if you want to mine or lend out your compute power, there's a way that you can lend out your compute power utilizing the Lium technology and ecosystem here. So you got so many different things you can do with compute power. It's up to you, but pay attention to the token. For a community member that's just looking to buy some alpha, it's only a $43 million market cap, and it sits in an area that's really, really needed for AI to continue to be innovation. Anyway, Tau is looking good. Altcoins are strong right now, so that's what we want to see. Look, AI coin right here, WLD doing well, WorldCoin. But hey, we'll continue to monitor Bitcoin, and if it's under that ultimate RSI cross, Bittensor is above it. It just crossed it. So in my opinion, Bittensor is looking to take this bullish momentum and maybe head to 400 or higher. But we'll just have to see the CPI data and how the Fed reacts to the macro data. Let me know what you think about Subnet 51 and Bittensor. It's your boy Crypto Millie. I'll see you in the next one.